Hello, welcome back to another episode of our crazy, stupid podcast. But yes, hello, welcome back to another episode. We just finished watching Rye Lane. What a treat. What an absolute delight.
That movie's got a 97% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Of course it does, and now I know why. I knew when I saw the trailers that it was going to be really good, but now after watching it, I just, wow.
Yeah.
Absolutely phenomenal.
So I guess we can just do overall thoughts and then things that stood out and see where it kind of goes from there. It sounds like you already have a lot of thoughts.
I do, but I don't know the difference between overall thoughts and things that stood out.
Like, good, bad, just like general ideas of how you felt about the movie. I think the second one, I sort of look at like specific things, like to explore, like thematic purposes, character analysis, and so on and so forth. The first half is just like general, like, I thought this was kind of good, or I don't know how to explain it. I feel like overall thoughts is just like a general
My
statement.
overall thoughts are that movie was absolutely perfect and that it was absolutely perfect. I thought everything about it was just so good. I was smiling the whole way through from beginning to end. Maybe the future of rom-coms is going to be okay.
Were you nervous that it wasn't?
Well, we just don't get that many now. Like not even like mid. I mean, like not even like there was a time when like there was pretty much always like some sort of like mid like random rom-com coming out.
Yeah.
But like that doesn't even happen now. Like so we just don't get that many of them. But this was a treat. This was really good.
Yeah. I also thought it was good. I kind of get what you mean when you were saying a little bit earlier on about like you need that chemistry between these two people because they're kind of carrying the film. Like 90% of that script is just them talking to each other.
And that's I have more to say about that. But yes.
I thought that worked well. Soundtrack was great. Acting was really great. Had a couple of cameos that I thought was kind of funny to see.
Just the one, right? Some
of her ex's family, I recognize those actors from somewhere. I just couldn't pinpoint it, and I didn't want to pause the movie.
I don't know if that's a cameo, though. I feel like a cameo, you have to be, like, famous. It could just be like they casted them, like,
Maybe. I guess I think they might be, like, UK famous.
I think we'd know.
Because there's a few people that are kind of like BBC famous. Like, I remember there were some people that, oh, you were just on Sherlock. I just saw you on Luther. And so, like, if you're in that area.
Yeah, but that's not a cameo. That just means, like, a cameo is like you take a really famous person and you put them in a, like, very small, like, minor role where you wouldn't expect them.
But how do you really famous in, like, what's the metric there? Because I just think you just no, but it's not just like recognize you like, oh, that's the same thing for person from so and so. It's like, oh, that's a superstar. It's like when you have like the guy a box office name.
Yeah, or like what they do in Marvel with I just forgot his name. The Marvel guy.
Stan Lee?
Yes, what they do with him, it's like you throw him in there, everybody's like, oh shoot, like so the Colin Firth thing is like, what is Colin Firth doing? Like you don't expect it. It's like, what is he doing here? Like you almost don't recognize him because it's out of context.
Yeah.
And you look closer and it's like,
I wonder.
But that was fun. It was a good cameo.
The movie gave like indie vibes.
But it's BBC Films, so it's probably
That would probably be it.
Yeah.
That would be it.
It gave indie vibes because the two lead actors are unknown, like they people don't know them. Oh man, what a treat.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I have any negatives, to be honest.
No, none.
Yeah, I guess we just jump right into it then.
Okay.
I'm gonna let you go because this sounds like you're eager.
Oh yes. Okay, number one. When we talked about rom-coms in a past episode, I talked about this a little bit about how like the best rom-coms are the ones where like the plot is secondary to like the characters, right? So you're not so much focused on like what the movie is quote unquote about or what's going to happen next, so much as you are just like in love with these two characters and just enjoy watching them enjoy being in each other's company.
Yeah.
That's the difference between like How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days and this, right? It's like How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days is like fun, you know, like it's like a good time, but nobody's ever going to be like, that's an instant classic. That is like, it's not a 97% on Rotten Tomatoes, you know, like it's a good time. You have fun because you're like, oh, what an interesting plot. Like, oh, she's trying to lose this guy in 10 days and he's trying to prove that he, you know, and then they're two super famous actors. So you get to watch them interact with each other and it's fun. But a classic, when you want to make like a Notting Hill, this is what you do. This is what you do. You take two people with amazing chemistry. There's a plot there, but you don't really care. You don't really care about the plot. You're just like, wow, these two people are delightful.
Yeah, what exactly, now that you mention it, what really was the plot?
Like, I mean, you could say like, oh, a recently heartbroken man, you know, like,
yeah,
you could say, but like,
you know what I mean? Like the story, like
it doesn't even really follow like a natural,
like point A to point B. They're just kind of going.
They're just talking. Like that's just the whole vibe of the film. And I think I said it out loud. We were watching it. I was like, oh, this is just going to be a movie of those two people walking around. That's the best type.
Yeah.
Like that's literally like the best type of rom-com. Like you just watch them hang out.
Yeah.
If you have two actors with really good chemistry and you have a really good writer that can create characters that are like interesting and funny and quirky, you're set.
One thing that I immediately picked up on was their use of lighting in this film. That's another thing that I picked up on, but not just, you know, just like the bright colors. I think, how do I want to say it? It's like, if you wanted another example of why you need more representation, not just in acting, but in directing, you could look to movies like this and see the care that they took to have proper lighting for dark-skinned Black characters.
I thought about Insecure,
yeah,
and how they did that well too.
I thought about this movie. I thought about Insecure. I thought about Moonlight.
Yep.
I thought about even in the scene with Abbott Elementary when Gregory and Janine are having that conversation. There's kind of like this blue light behind them, where it shows. Like it makes their skin color more dynamic, which you won't always know how to do that, honestly, if you don't really know like what the skin color needs, which is why like you need more Black people directing films,
or like whatever that role is that does the lighting.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely a term for that. It's slipping my mind, but you know, more Black people in the room to say like, oh, it needs this color.
And I'm sure some of it is the editing afterwards too.
Yeah. Again, right there, you need more. That's the
How do we always film at the time when their food comes out?
I don't know. They're probably like, this is starting to feel passive aggressive. But that was something that I immediately picked up on. Where I'm like, you just made the color in the film more vibrant.
Yes, it's a very pretty
their
movie.
Skin color was glowing.
Yeah.
It was gorgeous.
It had that aesthetic appeal. The same thing that I was thinking about To All the Boys I've Loved Before a lot while we watched this, because that's like the most recent, I feel like, instant classic rom-com that we've gotten.
Yeah.
I put this a touch above. I never thought I'd say it. But I put it a touch above just because To All the Boys I Loved Before was fun, but it is a plot movie. It is like, oh, they're fake dating. They're, you know, I mean, the two people's chemistry is phenomenal, but you know, I just feel like this had a little edge. But then the same way, a lot of what took To All the Boys I Loved Before over the top was its aesthetics. Like aesthetically, that movie is so good. The colors are bright and vibrant. The music is always perfect. Like everything, it's like you see, like watching it is just visually looking at it is very pleasing and enjoyable. And this had that too. It was just very fun looking. Like it just looked interesting and pretty the entire time.
This is something that is going to feel a bit of a pivot to where we were just at. I picked up on a lot of similar lingo that people in the UK use that like My Jamaican Family uses.
Yeah. Well, first of all, she's definitely Caribbean. That her character was definitely Caribbean.
Yeah. But I mean,
but also in the UK, I feel like they just use it.
But even like, that's exactly, that's my point.
It's like Canada.
Yes. Where it made me think of a couple of things. It's been a while since I've like studied linguistics, back when I was in undergrad. But I do think there might be a reason why UK actors are easier, or they seem to have a more natural ability to pick up on an accent that sounds more real from the Caribbean side, because I think the dialect is really heavily influenced from that old English that I think people in the UK still hold on to.
Yeah, it would make sense because, like, I mean, the UK, like, they colonized Jamaica. So
right.
Like, I'm sure that the way that people in Jamaica talk has to do with, like, the presence of British
I was trying
people.
to think of a couple of these. So I know, like, someone like says something that's out of bounds, like, whatcha? Right? They'll say it, but it's not as, I'm trying to think of the right word here. It's not as calm, like the way UK would say it. Is a little bit more, it sounds a little bit more formal. Mm-hmm. I think this is the word. It's more relaxed when Jamaicans say it. They had a couple of other phrases. Like this one is like obviously like more vulgar. He was like, "Go suck your mom." Yeah, like they'd be like, "Your mother," right? But again, like you see the connection there. I'm like, okay, because I picked up on that with Lyanna Lynch in James Bond. That last one, when she had the Jamaican accent, I was like, yeah, you can kind of tell it's not like she's clearly not like yachty, right? But like I was kind of impressed versus like Bushmaster in I know you didn't watch it, but Luke Cage on the Netflix one, that one was rough, like really rough.
yeah.
But yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
I did enjoy seeing all of the drops of like Caribbean culture in the film, just like casually there. I mean, I'm sure maybe in New York it's probably like that.
Yeah.
I just feel like I've never lived in a place where like Caribbean culture is that present everywhere, so that you just kind of like see pieces of it, around just casually. Queens,
parts of Brooklyn.
Yeah.
I mean, when you go to like Bronx and Yonkers, that's a bit more like
Puerto Rican.
Yeah. But that feels pretty accurate because my uncle used to live in London and he was like right at home. Mm-hmm. You can find your little nook.
Yeah.
And then you're like,
I wonder if Rye Lane is like, I don't know anything about Rye. I don't know like anything about like London. I wonder if Rye Lane is like I don't know, like they called it Rye Lane. That's clearly like a neighborhood or a part of London or like something. I don't know anything about it, but I wonder if it's like if it's like a very Caribbean part of town or something. But yes, I enjoyed all of it. I did want to say, like, I liked how, like, the whole movie, it was filmed in this way that it felt like a dream sequence.
Yeah.
Like, it was, like, very, like, surreal the entire time.
Even, like, when they would have the camera on, like, front facing the person, it would kind of zoom out like a span aspect. Yeah.
Or, like, the angles. And also just, like, the random things that would be going on around them that they just wouldn't address.
Like that kid on the scooter?
Yes, the kid on the scooter, the lady in, like, the Playboy bunny costume.
It was, like, some kind of party she was outside of.
Something. Yeah. Or even, like, that guy in the market that it was in, like, the blue sparkly outfit. Like, all of it felt like, like, when you're in a dream and it's, like, just random, absurd things are just happening. And it's, like, you don't stop to address it. Like, it's just like, whatever, we're just going to keep going. I appreciated that. And I felt like the tone of it shifted. Like, at the beginning, I felt like the movie was from his perspective for the most part, because clearly, because we didn't know what was going on with her till like towards the end. But in the beginning, it's like it's a dream where everything just feels like absolutely absurd, and it sort of has like a negative or like off-putting vibe. Like when he's at the gallery and like his friend is like talking to him and they get like really close on his friend's face and
Yeah.
But I feel like it
jarring.
Feels like how, I don't know, like when you're going through a really tough time and you're having like a really like you're depressed, basically. Like everyday life can just feel kind of absurd. It's just like, this is like really life right now. Like everything that's going on, like things that are not actually that weird.
Yeah.
You know, like you feel out of place all the time. And I feel like they capture that very well. Then after they go to that lunch with his ex and Eric, and he comes out and he's like a completely different person, like right away, I feel like the tone of it changed. It's still absurd, but in like a fun way, and like yo, what's going on? Which I feel like is like how young love feels, you know?
Yeah.
Just like stuff's just happening and you're just like, this is really life. Like this is crazy. I feel like they did such a good job with that.
That is true.
I thoroughly enjoyed that.
It definitely shows how the use of like shots and camera angles adds so much to the story.
Yes.
Because when I'm watching that, when his friend with the dreads at the beginning, he's like kind of all in his face. I'm like, bro, like this is a lot.
It's too much.
Like, just, I need a minute. And I'm pretty sure that's how he felt.
Right.
Like, you're seeing it from his perspective. Like, it very much is first person shot because like the camera is right in front, you know? Yeah, that was really impressive.
And then he goes back to his gallery at the end, and it doesn't feel like that anymore. Like, it's still absurd. Like, the gallery concept, everything is just, but like, you feel at place and at peace in that environment because he does.
Yeah.
Because he's grown and come to a better place.
That's true. That's true.
I also, man, okay. I know that the Manny Pixie, do you know like the Manny Pixie Dream Girl like trope?
Is that kind of what what's her name was like? I forget what her name was
in the movie. He's Dom and she's some Yaz.
Yaz. Is that kind of?
Yeah. So basically, it's like this idea where like you have this female character who like she's fun, she's like quirky, she's like kind of like has like a childlike wonder, but like her purpose is to like teach like the man in the movie like how to enjoy life, basically. Yeah. It's kind of played out like it gets criticized a lot.
Is that
like,
kind of like would you say that's
500
like,
Days of Summer? Yes.
Okay.
Jessica Day, or not Jessica, what's her real name? Emily, no, whatever that actress's real name is.
That's gonna bug me. I need to know that. Zoe
Deschanel. Zoe Deschanel pretty much always plays this character. It's
Google
like
it,
her.
by the way. I'm very proud of myself for that moment.
Happy for you. She pretty much always plays this character, but it comes up in films a lot, especially this type of like sort of indie type film. Like there's like whole TikTok accounts where like their whole thing is making fun of this type of character.
I think I saw that one when they were like when she was like in the grocery store.
Yes.
There was one that was
there's this one TikToker. She's like she's brunette. Somebody will know her if we post this. She does this all the time. Okay, it's a trope. It gets made fun of a lot. But I feel like I needed to see a black Manny Pixie Dream Girl. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed this. I was not upset at all. I was like, this is refreshing. This is nice to see. And you know who else does this, actually? Jessica Williams. She's black. She's
was she in that new show that was on Apple TV?
Yes, Shrinking, and she's in Intergalactic, that Kid Cudi thing, and she was in Love with William Harper Jackson. Yes, she does it. She does this well too, and it's refreshing. There's just something about listen, black women, we just know what to do, but there's just something about the energy that they bring to it that it doesn't feel played out. Like it feels fresh. You know, like she's kind of like. You know, when she was kind of like roasting him a little bit, like kind of giving him a little bit of a hard time. Like, I don't know. I really enjoyed watching a black woman get to inhabit this type of a character.
It's like they know how to balance that tongue in cheek without it feeling like, oh, you're kind of mean.
Yeah. Or obnoxiously, like.
That's a better way to say
perfect, I guess. Like, I mean, the whole thing is like dream girl, right? It's like, oh, this is supposed to be like the type of girl that like when you're like a teenager, you're like, I wish I was that girl because that's the girl that all the guys like you have the perfect balance of everything, you know?
Although we were talking about this, like some of my guys a while back when we were thinking about like what the perfect girl is.
Why are we all talking about that?
Because it'll make sense in a second.
Okay.
It actually wasn't that. We were talking about One Tree Hill and how all of us were in love with Peyton Sawyer. But I don't think she gave off that same vibe that you're describing. You think?
Here's the thing. Like, not in the same sense. She is kind of a manic pixie dream girl, but a different, like, because think about it.
Like some kind of derivative version of
yeah,
it?
like, sure, she's not, like, perky and happy, but she was, like, I live life on the edge, like, I'm artistic, like, I go where my heart tells me, I do what I want, and the character that she was playing opposite of was the same, like, broody, overly serious, always thinking character. That was Lucas. So it's kind of the same.
Oh, you're right.
You're
right.
You see? And who she was supposed to contrast was Brooke, and Brooke is like the opposite. Brooke is like the too put together, that's the thing. The manic pixie dream girl, she has to be like, she's not so put together. She has to come across as like carefree, but like clearly, like, I mean, like, a lot of thought has to be put into like this type of person, but like, she has to come across like that, like, she's very carefree. She just does what she wants. She goes where she wants. She doesn't care what people think of her, and it's contrasted to a person like Brooke that is like, I'm very put together. I care about appearances. I care,
Mm-hmm.
But I enjoyed watching. Yes, I had a great time.
She was good at that. That's such a good point. I'm like, it all makes sense now. Why I loved Peyton Sawyer so much. Yeah, that's true. What did you think about her ex? Josh's ex. He's given off like,
oh man,
your wokeness is to the point where you're just an insufferable human being.
Like, you can't hold a conversation.
Yeah,
like,
man.
Like, you're chronically online.
Yes, that kind of woke gets on my damn nerves. I can't stand it. Where it's like, you're not a person. Like, can you be a person?
Just calm down.
Like, you can be progressive and be a person. Like, just no one talks like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yes.
Just put your phone down, get off of Twitter, and just be a person. I don't really know how else to describe it, but it's because as I'm watching her ex, it's very frustrating because it's like, we all know people like that where they go down like the progressive direction and then they get so woke where it's like, you're not a normal human being anymore. Like, can you just be a person, please?
Or even like, you can still believe all these things. Like, the things that you believe can still be true, but you can have balance in life. Like, you can recognize, like, I still need to be able to enjoy things, and I need to let the people around me enjoy them as well. That's what it is.
Letting other people enjoy things and knowing when to bring up and when not to bring up your convictions about things, aka just read the damn room.
Yes.
Like,
if your girlfriend is like, let's wave at the boat, and you say tourism, what did he say? Tourism, like, fun, sex trafficking. I was like,
oh my god, bro, can you just wave at the people? Just wave at the people.
Man, it's hilarious.
What's wrong with you? But like, you see instances like that.
It's like on Twitter when that woman, she tweeted about how her and her husband like to sit outside in the morning and drink coffee together. And she had I at first I was like, maybe people are over exaggerating. It's just a couple people. No, it was tons, like hundreds of people in her mentions.
Saying what?
Being like, this is a little bit elitist because like not everybody has the privilege to like have a calm start to their day and sit outside and enjoy.
God.
Like literally like tons of comments, like quote tweets, like people being like, I just don't, and it was truly shocking. It was truly shocking.
What's wrong with people?
I don't know.
Get off of Twitter.
Just get off.
Because that's not how people I saw this other, oh my gosh. It was about it was like a husband and a wife. Oh, what was it? But they were like matching outfits. And it was clearly something that the husband like inspired, like the style of it. And they're going through this whole like conversation of like patriarchy and yada and yada. And I'm like, it's
a matching outfit.
Do you like people? Do you enjoy the company of human beings? If not, that's fine. But just, you gotta let people be people.
Yeah, just log off for a little bit. Go read a book. You can still be in your solitude. Just like, yeah. I
mean, you see in other instances, and I get it with indigenous people that do not celebrate Thanksgiving. I understand when they speak about that conviction, I feel that. But some of you woke people, you're not doing it in the way that they're doing it.
Yeah, no. And also, like, you need to recognize the difference between how different groups of people are observing this holiday.
Right.
Like, it's the same thing. People talk about this all the time with, like, 4th of July and all this stuff. Listen, you need to understand something.
I'm going to eat my hot dogs, okay?
Black people, we're not celebrating these holidays. You gave us a day off.
Yes.
And we're going to use the day off to have fun with our family.
That's it.
I have never once had a Thanksgiving dinner where we talk about the Pilgrims. Where we don't care. We're there to be with each other and have a big old meal.
That's it.
That's it. Same thing 4th of July. When we have our barbecues, we don't care about America.
We're not waving no flags.
We're not talking about America's independence.
We bopping NWA.
You gave us a day off work. And we're going to use that day to see our family and friends and eat good food.
Quite literally it. Just we can't let our wokeness rob us from just being normal people, because you know what, this country's going to take a lot of your happiness. You gotta find moments to just enjoy things. Like people say same thing about Marvel and how some of their movies can be very pro-military. That's true, but you know what, I still be having a great fucking time.
To be quite honest, I mean, maybe this is like the danger of it, I don't know, but frankly, if people had not pointed out to me that they were pro-military, I would have never once noticed. Right over your head. I would have never once noticed.
But even in Captain Marvel, it felt like they were critiquing.
They will always critique to an extent, because Disney is like on their progressive wave right now. Like, they're trying to have that image, so they critique up to a certain extent, and then they kind of hold back right when you're getting to like the good stuff, when you could really say something.
Because you know what it is, they have deals with the military. A lot of those ships and planes.
Yeah,
give them access to, and they're like, we'll allow you to do it if you promote us in somewhat of a positive light.
Yeah. Real quick on Rye Lane, though. There's a couple of things that we have to talk about. When we talk about rom-coms. Okay. Number one.
Educate me.
Meet cutes and grand gestures. Okay, meet cute. How the characters meet.
Oh.
There's always got to be like something, right? This was a new one. I have never seen this one done before, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
What happened?
They were in the bathroom. They were in the gender neutral bathrooms, and she heard him crying, saw his shoes, and they came outside, and then she introduces herself, and then they set off. To be honest, though, the whole entire film is sort of a meet cute, honestly, because it's all in one day, so you could actually say, like, the vast majority of the film up until, like, the last, like, 20 minutes is their meet cute. It was great. It was fantastic.
You saw the shoes, like, were part of the narrative.
Yes.
Kind of cool. That was like in JoJo. I don't know if you've seen Jojo Rabbit.
No, I did not watch that. I know it's a really good movie. I know.
But not to spoil it, because I know at some point you'll watch it, but similar thing.
I actually had a weird thing where I thought I had watched the movie before it came out. Like, that movie's fairly recent, right?
Not really. I think 2019.
Right. I remember you were watching it in 2020, and I was like, oh yeah, I saw that movie years ago. And then I was like, no, I didn't. Cap. But like, it really did feel familiar. It was giving very much deja vu, and I was really confused by it. So meet cute, grand gesture.
Talk to me.
I really liked that. When she got on the boat.
Oh, at the end.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's always nice when they switch it up. They have the lady do the grand gesture.
Okay, this is for that one time I was like, okay, what are the odds of him being at the right window as she's moving down in the boat? That was the only thing I was like, okay, come on. I'm sorry.
It's by the water.
Let me not ruin it. Bit of a coincidence, though.
I just thought it was sweet. The ending where they just bring everything back full circle. He's like, what did he say? He was like, I'm going to see where life takes me or whatever at the end. Oh, man, this was good. This was so good.
When they were at the karaoke, he's trying to speak, and then she interrupts him like spontaneously and gives him a kiss. But in that last scene, he's the one that does that to her. Mm-hmm. Like, he's just kind of learning to, relax a bit. Yeah. It's a good movie. More.
Make more of them. There's so many actors right now. So many actors that we need to see in rom-coms. Daniel Kaluuya, we need to see him in a rom-com.
He was.
Aaron Taylor Johnson, we need to see... Be quiet. We need to see him in a rom. I recently had a conversation where I tried to bring that movie up as like a LOL. I remember when this movie came out and they were like, oh, wow, yeah, I loved it. And I was like... Let me be quiet. It was several people. It was with the choir. It was several people. Oh my God. I decided to be quiet after that.
Y'all need to love yourselves. You enjoy better stories.
I was like, yeah, remember when they did this? Like, I don't know. I'm kind of overleaning with. They're like, yeah, I love that film. Bro. I thought it was great. It's one of my favorites.
No. Oh my God. What? That's just such a traumatizing. I remember we all walked out of that theater. It was mad of us. And we were just, sometimes you kind of debrief immediately after you watch a movie.
But we were like,
and we're like, bro, I just want to go home and in my bed. I'm sorry.
Oh, man.
I don't know how like the Bonnie and Clyde story ends. You could have just let them get away.
The thing is,
you could have just let them get away.
The ending is actually not where things went off the rails. Things went off the rails way earlier. With the protest. The protest that was for some reason juxtaposed with the sex scene in the car.
What in God's name was that? Why did they do that?
Oh man,
I don't even get the point.
Oh man,
that they were trying. What is the juxtaposition there?
Oh man, my head wrap looks stupid. That's the problem, is that nobody understands.
This is a black moment for anyone that follows us. all 200
oh shoot,
of y'all.
I made it worse.
That's fine.
Oh well. Yeah, it's like it had such promise. Aesthetically, it was like well done. Like it looked nice.
They acted great.
Two very talented actors. The concept is fascinating to me. Yeah. I was interested, and I don't mind that they died at the end. Because that is Bonnie and Clyde. That is how the story goes. But in Bonnie and Clyde, they go out on their own terms. Like they get surrounded. I watched this movie because I love Warren Beatty. I was like, that is the most beautiful man I've ever seen. And I watched that film. They get surrounded at the end and they're like, all right, let's go out like a boss. And so they go out and they start shooting at the cops so that the cops will shoot at them, and then they die together. Like basically like they committed suicide by cop. That's what it's called, right? Sure. So it's kind of like, it's tragic, but it's also like you got to go out like a G, like it's,
and that's because she died first and he's like carrying her toward.
It was very it was much different. It was much different. And also for some reason that she had them get sold out by that random black guy. It was just all over the place.
That felt so.
It was all over the place. Why did we bring that up? What were we talking about? Oh, actors that need to do rom-coms. Okay, Daniel Kaluuya, Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Did you watch Punisher?
Yeah.
They were saying the guy who played Jigsaw, his friend.
I can't remember.
He was also in Westworld. You know this actor, but he plays kind of like kind of crazy villain characters all the time.
Let me see.
And he was like, at one point he was kind of like begging his team to like get him into a rom-com because like, bro, I'm tired of playing Ben Barnes.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm tired of playing. He was in something Shadow and Bone. That's what it was recently.
Chronicles of Narnia, though, is what I know him from.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah, he would be great. Like there's so many like up and coming young Damson Idris rom-com. Put him in a rom-com immediately. We will eat it up. We will. I promise you, black woman will eat it up.
Damson Idris is that guy though. So I'm just saying, like, man, Franklin Sate.
There's just so many actors right now and actresses like on the come up that like. Just we need to seize this moment.
There's a couple of actors in The Bear. There's just a black woman in that. I think she just got cast in a Marvel movie. I think she'd be phenomenal.
She was in Abbott.
Yeah.
Yes, I could definitely see that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Jessica Williams has done a couple like rom-com, like they're not movies, but like shows now. But put her in a film, I'll watch her again. I just think she's so charming. There's just, I don't know.
I mean, I guess we don't really need it with Zendaya because we did kind of get it in Spider-Man.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be down. I'd go watch it. I mean, I would go watch it again. But yeah, I just feel like this is the time. This is the time to do it. Take advantage of this moment. I feel like rom-coms could be big money makers again. You just have to do them really well.
I think they could make money, especially now that some of these streaming platforms are introducing ads. And so it's not just the problems that we talked about this before. Like you could make your money off of this, because I can guarantee you a lot of people are not going to get this Hulu Plus or Premiere.
But I actually think people would go to see some of these in
the theater.
I think people would have gone to see Rye Lane.
Yeah, I think if it was marketed. Speaking of marketing, this movie that Sydney Sweeney's in. Did you hear about that? She's in a rom-com movie with her and
that guy from
Top Gun.
Well, he's in what I know him from is that rom-com on Netflix.
Oh, but anyways,
Match or whatever.
You want to talk about marketing? So like
they're like a couple now. I
don't know, but throughout the post-production process, his girlfriend unfollows Sydney Sweeney. And so that kind of, everybody online were kind of talking like, oh, what is that supposed to mean? And then like, again, then they announced that they broke up. And they're like, okay, what's going on? And then you see all of these little clips that people were starting to put on like, oh, okay. Yeah. It could all just be a publicity stunt, but it's working. Like
I think it's
buzz there.
I think it's for real.
Really?
It's not unheard. It's not an unheard of thing in Hollywood where you do like a romantic film. Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie, they did Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Yo, I saw a clip a while back about Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and I was like, this is such a goated movie. I'm sorry.
It is, but I can't enjoy it anymore.
I know, because it's Brad Pitt,
but it is it's a classic.
It's the dinner scene where it's just like, oh, yeah, I'm gobbling this all up. I am very entertained.
But see, that's what I'm saying. Like, they had such good chemistry in that film.
Yeah.
Like that's not. It doesn't happen all the time, but that's not an unheard of. I mean, like with Zendaya and Tom, same thing. Like if you have very good chemistry on screen, you probably also have very good chemistry off screen.
Yeah, I mean,
so it happens.
Chad Murray, he dated Sophia Bush. Mm-hmm. I think they might have actually been engaged.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's somebody else I'm forgetting, but a couple of people that happened too.
Ashton Kutcher and what's her face?
Mila.
Yeah, wasn't she in that 70s show with them?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Toby
Maguire and Kirsten Dunst.
Yeah, and then
dated for a while.
What's the actors in The Big Bang Theory? I know you probably didn't watch, but they were together for a while too. Yeah, it happens.
But yeah. Oh man, what were we saying again? How did we get there?
Who we want to see in a rom-com?
But how did we start talking about? You're talking about. Oh no, we were talking about rom-coms making money.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, I feel like it might have been like a slow burn, like maybe a couple people go at first, but then people start talking about how good it is.
Yeah.
And if the only place where you can watch it is in the theaters, I feel like it could have worked. Yeah. I mean, they put Little Women in theaters. Mm-hmm. And it did well, as far as I know. Mm-hmm. And people went, like when we went to see that movie, it wasn't like a packed theater, but it was like a good amount of people who were there.
That's
so, true. I don't know. I'm just saying, people, bring it back.
Yeah,
we deserve it.
Any more thoughts?
No, I just said I loved it and it was beautiful.
Yeah, I saw I guess the Met Gala is tomorrow.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I don't really care about the Met Gala, but whenever I think about it, I think about that outfit Chadwick Boseman came out with. And I'm like, none of y'all can compare at least in my mind, none of y'all can compare.
Not in
to
the
that
men's
outfit.
Department.
Yeah, for the men. I'm sorry. Because I was like, what? You look like an angel. Like, I don't even.
For some reason, like, I don't like men just have a really hard time like wearing interesting clothes to these things.
Yeah, like to take a chance to be risky.
Yeah,
I think there's some of like I don't want to be seen as like feminine.
For sure, that's some of it.
But Chad,
'Cause
he was like,
even at award
Oh.
shows, it's like the women are in like these extravagant gowns, and then men, you're gonna wear a black tux. And
Yeah.
when somebody doesn't wear black tux, it's like, ooh,
I know.
oh, you got a little bedazzle on the
you
jacket.
got the Obama tan suit on. Okay. But that I was like,
what is the theme this year for the Met Gala?
who are you asking right now?
Well, let's see. I will be tuned into this. I do like to see the Met Gala looks.
Yeah.
The only other thing coming up this week is Guardians. Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah, people saying it's great.
Oh, good.
People saying it's great.
That's actually the first time that's really happened, like, in a while.
What?
That, like, people are coming away being like, this is really good. Like, it's been mixed for the past few. Like, Doctor Strange, it was, like, a mixed reviews.
I think we got some revisionist history. There were some bangers. Like, what if we say misses? Like, what misses?
I'm saying, like, the last few movies. Like, we had Thor: Love and Thunder, Doctor Strange, Ant-Man.
No, Wakanda Forever was in there.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. There's something else that I'm forgetting.
Shang-Chi, No Way Home.
Shang-Chi, No Way Home, Wakanda Forever, the Disney special, the horror movie.
Yeah, the one on Disney Plus, Werewolf by Night.
That one was a banger. Obviously, Loki was a banger.
No, I'm talking about movies though. In theaters. Yeah, I'm not discrediting that. I'm just saying, like, for the last couple, outside of Wakanda Forever, obviously, but like that was kind of like I knew that was going to be good.
What came before Wakanda Forever? Was it Doctor Strange?
The last three besides Wakanda Forever were Doctor Strange, Ant-Man, and Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yikes.
Right. So that's what I mean. It's like all three of those, like when people started coming out after seeing them, it was like, you'll have a good time. You know, like it was that type of thing. It was like, it was fun. So if people are saying it's great, okay, I'm a little bit more excited.
You weren't excited before?
I was pensively excited. I was like, I'm excited, but like I'm a little nervous. I'm a little, I don't want to go in with super high expectations and then it's like, oh, dang.
No, that makes sense. Oh, I mean, it's James Gunn. I knew he was going to deliver.
Yeah.
It kind of sounds like this is it. I don't think, like, there might be some character deaths, but it sounds like everyone's done. I think Batista's done because he's getting older and, it's kind of taking a toll on him to put all this on, because he's also doing it with Dune. I think it's taking a lot. Zoe, I mean, she's been in these big blockbusters.
Yeah, she's been talking about how
decades.
She said something annoying that in an interview a while back where she was like, "It's taken over my career for all these years." I'm like, "Ma'am, you chose. This was your decision."
But,
you chose to do Avatar.
It's a real truth for her though.
You chose to do Marvel. What was the other one? She's been in the third one.
Avatar, Marvel. No, those are the two biggest ones.
No, there's a third franchise that she's been a part of.
Star Trek, maybe?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, well, I mean, I'm not putting that on the level as those two.
No, but she was talking about that, about like how,
Gotcha.
she's been doing this, and I'm like, yeah. So, but yeah, I could see she wants to do something
Chris
else.
Pratt, he might stick around, but I think the Guardians are probably...
Yeah, that's probably done.
Which is sad.
I mean, Chris Pratt, he said, I'm going to be in every franchise.
He's going to become like The Rock.
I mean, honestly, that's like a pretty like wild reround for him, considering like where he started on Parks and Rec. So it's a big achievement, frankly. Just like John Krasinski.
Yeah, I think that does it for me.
Yeah.
I'll close this out.
All right. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Crazy Stupid Podcast. This episode was produced by Adrian Battle Marston, and it could be sponsored by you if you want to sponsor us and pay us to promote your products. Okay. That's all we have. Bye.